Long ago, in a quiet valley between green hills, there lived a young monk named Kiran. He had come to the mountain temple to learn wisdom, but his heart was heavy with worry. While other monks seemed happy and peaceful in their daily life, Kiran fought against every change that came his way. The temple had simple daily habits: prayer at sunrise, work in the gardens, study in the afternoon, and evening prayer. But Kiran was always upset. When winter came, he complained about the cold. When the daily schedule changed, he said no. When teachers shared new ideas, he wanted only the old ways. The other monks saw his pain, but it was the wise old teacher, Master Chen, who decided to help. Master Chen had a special way of teaching. Instead of long talks about big ideas or reading old books, he liked to show truth through real examples. He had spent many years watching nature, finding deep lessons in simple things. One morning, as autumn turned the valley golden and red, Master Chen came to Kiran in the garden. "Come with me," the old teacher said softly. "I want to show you something." They walked past the temple walls, down a small path that led to a place where two very different trees grew side by side. One was a big oak tree, thick and strong, with branches reaching high to the sky. The other was bamboo, thin and graceful, moving gently in the morning wind. "What do you see?" Master Chen asked. Kiran looked at the trees. "I see strength," he said, pointing to the oak. "And I see weakness," he added, pointing to the bamboo. Master Chen smiled but said nothing. He sat down on an old log and asked Kiran to sit too. "Let us wait," he said simply. As they sat quietly, the sky began to grow dark. What started as a soft wind became stronger, and soon the first drops of rain began to fall. The wind grew louder, rushing through the valley with great force. Kiran watched as the storm grew stronger. The bamboo began to bend, its thin stalks moving far as the wind pushed them. Sometimes they bent so far that their tops almost touched the ground, but they always came back up, dancing with the storm instead of fighting it. The oak tree, however, stood firm. Its thick trunk did not move. Its big branches stayed stiff against the wind. For a while, it seemed to be winning against the storm. But as hours passed and the storm became wilder, something bad happened. With a sound like thunder, one of the oak's great branches broke and fell to the ground. Then another. The mighty tree, so proud and hard, began to break apart, piece by piece. The bamboo kept dancing, bending and moving, but never breaking. When morning came and the storm finally stopped, Kiran looked in wonder at what he saw. The proud oak stood hurt and broken, many of its branches on the ground. But the bamboo stood tall and unharmed, shining with raindrops in the morning light. "Now, do you understand?" Master Chen asked softly. Kiran looked from the broken oak to the bamboo, and slowly, understanding came to his eyes. "The bamboo lived because it bent," he whispered. "Yes." Master Chen nodded. The oak thought that strength meant fighting. It tried to battle the storm, to stay the same, no matter what came against it. But true strength is in learning to change. Over the next weeks, Kiran began to see this lesson everywhere. He watched how the temple gardens changed with the seasons, how the wise gardeners planted different plants at different times, how they changed their methods based on the weather, how they worked with nature instead of against it. He saw how Master Chen himself changed his teaching for different students, how he changed his way based on their needs and understanding. Even the old temple itself had been rebuilt many times over the years, each time changing its shape while keeping its true spirit. Slowly, Kiran began to change his own way of living. When the morning prayer time moved earlier, instead of being upset, he found joy in watching the sunrise. When winter brought cold, he found warmth in the fire. When new students came with different backgrounds and questions, he learned from them instead of pushing them away. The more he practiced this way of being, the more peaceful he became. He learned that changing didn't mean losing himself. It meant becoming more truly himself. Like the bamboo that stayed bamboo, no matter how far it bent. Years later, when Kiran had become a teacher himself, he would often bring his own students to that same place. The oak had finally fallen completely, but new young trees had grown in its place, young trees that had learned to bend just a little more than their parent. The bamboo had grown larger and more beautiful, showing the power of learning to change. Remember, Kiran would tell his students, as Master Chen had once told him, change is not your enemy. It is the very nature of life itself. The river that flows around rocks reaches the sea, while the one that fights against them stops moving. He would pause, letting his words sink in, before sharing the wisdom that had changed his own life. In this world, everything changes. The seasons, the weather, our bodies, our situations, even our thoughts and feelings. The only thing that never changes is change itself. Those who learn to adapt, who bend like bamboo in the storm, do not just survive, but grow strong. They learn that being flexible is not weakness, but the greatest strength of all. As the sun set behind the mountains, painting the sky in bright oranges and purples, Kiran would smile, knowing that he had learned the most important lesson of all, that in accepting change, we don't lose ourselves, we find ourselves. And in that finding, we discover a peace that no storm can shake, no matter how strong the wind may blow. The bamboo continues to dance in the valley, teaching its timeless lesson to all who have eyes to see and hearts to understand. You see, in life, just like Kiran, you will face many storms in your life. Your job might change, your relationships might end, your health might challenge you, your plans might fail. The world around you will keep changing whether you like it or not. When these changes come, you have a choice. You can be like the oak tree, fighting against change, becoming angry and bitter, breaking apart when life becomes too hard. Or you can be like the bamboo, learning to bend without breaking, finding new ways to grow, staying strong by being flexible. The bamboo teaches us that real strength is not in being rigid. Real strength is in learning to dance with life's storms. When you learn to adapt, you don't become weak. You become wiser. You don't lose who you are. You discover who you can become. Change is the only constant in life. Learn to adapt, and you will not just survive, you will thrive.